Alright, this fan fiction is called Cotton Candy. Okay. Okay, so summer's almost over. Everyone's pretty much sad it's ending so soon. It seemed like summer had passed by so quickly in like 3 days. Some people like to spend more time with their friends before going back to school, and some people like to throw parties before the hot season is over. And some people just want to relax. Amy was on the street with bags from variable variable stores like Old Navy and Kohl's in her arms. In their hands, both of them, were cotton candies. One was blue and one was pink. Why is she holding cotton candies? You say? Because she loves them. She loves them more than everyone in the whole world who likes cotton candy. She skipped on her way home, but it's not just her home. It's also everybody else's. Sonic, Creams, Tails, Knuckles, and Rouge lived there. It's a very big house. Not exactly a mansion, but close to one. But everyone else except Sonic is going out shopping or hanging out somewhere else. Sonic really didn't feel like going anywhere today. So it's just him and Amy. I'm home, Amy shouted, even though Sonic was right there on the couch, minding his own business by watching that '70s show. Yay, he sarcastically stated. She rolled her eyes and walked in front of him. Hold these while I put my bags in my room, and do me a favor. She gave him the cotton candies and poked his chest hard with her index finger. Do not eat them, or else. He rolled his eyes. Or else what? Or else I'll torture you all day. I haven't got enough of that by you chasing me every day, and bear hugging me and whatnot. She rolled her eyes, then ran upstairs with Sonic staring at the two cotton candies. He licked his lips. He absolutely loved cotton candy. He loved them just as much as he loved his running and chili dogs. He looked at the stairs to see if the coast was clear. Amy and took a tiny piece of blue cotton candy and ate it with delight, letting it melt in his mouth a little. He took the piece just in time before Amy came running down the steps and took the fluffy candies away from him, sitting next to him and started to eat the cotton candies. He looked at her. She was enjoying them with every bite of the candies. You must really love them. Yes, I do. They're my most favorite. I love them so much. I think I love them more than you. He said, oh, really? Because I love cotton candy as much as I love running. Nuh-uh. Yeah, huh? Want to bet? Sure. Last one to finish the cotton candy loses. Deal. And if one of us loses, we have to accept the fact that I love cotton candy more. Because it's true. Okay, if you win, I'll accept the fact that you love cotton candy more than me. But if you lose, Amy got a bit closer to Sonic. I have to kiss you. What? No way. And it's going to be nice and long. Sonic twitched but he couldn't let that bother him. He was the fastest thing alive, running and eating. I look fine, but you're going to lose anyway. Nope, you are. Let the games begin. Amy roughly said, giving Sonic the blue candy. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Then they began eating the cotton candy, piece by piece. After a minute, they both said, done. What happened if we both win? Which just happened, Amy asked. We need a tiebreaker. Ah, I know. You have to try and catch me in less than 2 minutes. Good luck. And with that, he ran away off to somewhere in the house. Ugh. Well, might as well try. Amy ran upstairs because that's the direction Sonic was headed, and checked every room upstairs. He wasn't in the bathroom, wasn't in his room, wasn't in any of the crew's room. Where could he be? Then she realized she hasn't checked her own room yet. When she entered her room, a voice could be heard. You have a minute, Amy. Try and find me. She tried to follow his voice. Now her room was pretty big. It had so many big spaces that Sonic could fit anywhere. She checked the bathroom under the bed and in her closet. 5 seconds. She looked in her dresser, but she lost. She groaned. Sonic, where are you? You won and I lost. Now come on, She got interrupted by Sonic, who picked her up and threw her on the bed. God, Sonic, you scared me. Sonic smirked. Yeah, well, it's time for me to do this. I love cotton candy more than you do. Sonic did his victory dance for a while, and Amy was getting annoyed by it. So she slowly got up and walked to the door, but then he stopped her. Hey, where do you think you're going? He ran in front of the door and blocked it from Amy going to it. What, Sonic? I have some unfinished business with, you know. While he said that, he locked the door. She saw that and gulped silently. When she looked back at him, he was smirking playfully, walking up to her slowly. Then he grabbed her, pushed her against the wall, leaving Amy speechless and completely surprised. He smirked even more. I bet she tastes sweet, like that cotton candy we just had. Sonic thought as he ran his tongue over his lips, wetting them. Amy noticed this and tried to move away from him, but his grip was too strong. He noticed her look and smiled. All of a sudden, he kissed her straight on the lips. Straight on the lips. He kissed her pretty hard, to be exact. Amy was really surprised by this, but she kissed back anyway. Her head started to hurt since it was pushed against the wall, so Sonic picked her up while still kissing her and carried her to the bed. Basically, Sonic got on top of her and deepened the kiss. Amy moaned a bit by that, but she just simply went with the flow, because Sonic was such a good kisser. He tasted yummy due to the fact that they both just ate cotton candies. With his tongue, he started flicking the top of her tongue, then started to swirl it. She whimpered a little by this. She never knew Sonic had a strong side for kissing. She gasped when she felt Sonic massaging her thighs. Then he grabbed her rear end, making her squeal. He chuckled by her squeal. He loved the sound of her squeal. It was like a tiny scream. He pulled away from the kiss and picked her up once again and moved into the middle of the bed, where it's more comfier. This time, he let Amy be on top and then kissed her once again. Amy felt so dominant being on top, as she had control over everything. She forcefully pushed her tongue back into Sonic's mouth, playing with his tongue. He raised his eyebrows. He liked this side of Amy. We should have done this a long time ago. Amy's a real good kisser. And she tastes sweet, just as I predicted, he thought as they both deepened their kiss. Sonic's so amazing at kissing. It's like he's done it all his life. Or practicing, she thought to herself this time. She got some goosebumps as Sonic ran his hands up and down her back. And then something so sudden happened. While he was rubbing her back, he pulled her up her blue cotton candy shirt, pulled away from kissing for a second to take off her shirt, revealing her deep, bright, red, strapless bra. He gave her sweet kisses across her chest, making Amy tingle everywhere. When he was kissing her smooth chest, he placed both of his hands onto her hips, where he fiddled around with her pink cotton candy shirt. While he was doing that, Amy started to play along and unbuttoned the male hedgehog's still blue plaid shirt, revealing his chest, and stroked her hands up and down it. Sonic, who is getting lustful every second, was getting pretty much aggressive. He started grabbing her butt, thighs, and hips. Out of the blue, he started pulling down her skirt. Amy, now in deep, bright red, silky undergarments, the Persian blue hedgehog turned her around and pinned her down on the bed, lowering himself down so that his body touched hers, and kissed her on the lips passionately. Amy also started to take his shirt off all the way, leaving his top body bare. She started rubbing her hands up and down his muscular arms while Sonic was messing around with her undergarments, pretending like he was taking them off, but then leaving them on. What made Amy really moan was when he started to rub her privates through the silky fabric. She wanted him even more, and she wanted him now. She started to take off his tan shorts, revealing his fire-patterned boxers. She now was rubbing his crotch through the fabric also, which made Sonic go nuts. He was getting hotter by the millisecond and couldn't take it anymore. He took off her bra and discarded it on the floor, started to suck her erect nipples. Amy was gasping, moaning, and whimpering, not handling this new feeling very well. He was slashing the nipples with his hot, wet tongue, also biting extremely gently on them. "Oh God, Sonic, I can't believe you're doing this to me," she moaned to him, receiving a chuckle as a reply. "Well, it's never my intention to drive you crazy, but I couldn't resist." He pulled away from the mounds for a second to whisper in her ear, "You tasted so good." He licked her ear, then back to the breast. She was indeed getting a bit too crazy over this, but she could not help it, for Sonic was too much of a pro at this. He finished with the mounds, now licking her strawberry-scented body, licking it and breathing with his hot breath, giving her giving her sensation throughout her body. He is now licking her thighs, very close to her panties. Her bosom was begging for more, but sadly had to wait for a little while. Amy pulled Sonic back up, then pinned him down. It was her turn. She kissed his neck hard, leaving a few hickeys on it. She moved down, kissing inch by inch, from his chest to his stomach, and from that to his area, where Amy started to pull down his boxers, revealing his 7-inch member, which surprised her, but didn't show any emotions on her face. So she didn't offend Sonic or something like that. She started to lick the tip of it, which made Sonic grip onto the sheets tightly. She then sucked it like a lollipop before taking in the whole thing into her mouth. She moved her head up and down, also forcing her tongue to swirl it around the member. Sonic was moaning deeply, but was trying to hide it by doing it quietly. Amy's so freaking good at this, he thought, as he went a bit crazier since Amy started to suck on it. Then she started to massage it while sucking the tip. She had first massaged it softly. Now she was massaging it like no other. Sonic was inching closer to orgasm, but much to his disappointment, she stopped with a final lick. "Why'd you stop?" he breathed, trying to calm down his nerves. Amy giggled. "Because it's your turn now." The second he heard that, he pinned her down. Amy giggling even more. He first kissed her, then slid off her panties, throwing them on the floor. He made his way down, and when he met his match, he immediately started kissing it. Amy gripped on the sheets, ready for his tongue. Then he started licking it, but then he remembered he gets a neck prick when he's in this position. What? So he sat up, got a hold of Amy's legs and placed them on his shoulders. Then he simply just dug his mouth into her love hole. She gasped at this and said to him, "Sonic, please." She hadn't the strength to say anything else since she was getting waves of pleasure every minute. The more hard his tongue pressed on her love button, the deeper she moaned. "I can't handle it." She tried to speak up again, but it didn't work. She was squirming, trying to make Sonic stop licking her, but he held on strong onto her legs. He was eating her button, making her moan in ecstasy, until she felt her area get hotter and more tingly. She moaned loudly as he kept on licking her wet area until she came, Sonic licking up all her juices. He pulled away to see her trying to catch her breath, already covered in tiny beads of sweat. He smirked at her. Then he hovered over her, using his hands to support his body. While he lowered his head down to kiss her, he then was prodding his member against her wet flower, with Amy quickly grabbing his arms and held tightly. The more he pushed his shaft into her love hole, she gripped onto him tightly as he made his entrance, breaking her virginity walls. As he went deeper and deeper until he couldn't go any more deeper, the light rose was shaking with nervousness and excitement, though when he broke her walls, she was flinching, her insides getting very tight. Sonic moved his lips from her lips to her hair, whispering, "Relax." She grabbed his neck with her hand, and with the other, she placed it on his back as the blue hedgehog started to slowly thrust in and out. He grabbed her legs and bended them with her knees up in the air and feet placed on the mattress, so it was easier to spread her flower. Then he pushed himself back up with his shaft still inside her, grabbing her legs and placing them on his shoulder as he bucked her like a wild man. Amy started to moan and scream as he thrusted her. She started to please herself though, as she massaged her breast. Sonic had also massaged her ankles as he went even faster. He then also licked her legs, making her go crazier than ever. Her wet juices sprang everywhere, even on Sonic. She was starting to get more waves of please throughout her body, not even stopping for a second. Her moans and screams were like sweet music to Sonic, and he went a bit faster. After a couple of minutes, his body was starting to hurt from all the thrusting, but yet, he still wasn't at his full pleasure yet. So then he removed her legs from his shoulders and moved Amy on top. It felt so good for a change to let a girl be on top for once. Amy felt like the leader when she was on top, and so she started to ride on top of him like a bronco. He grabbed her waist to support her as he moved her up and down. He was also good. He was also twisting her nips and pinching them, and she was moaning like a good girl should. She was also feeling his shaft getting harder and pulsing, which left weird to her in a good way. She was Sonic was biting his bottom lip as he felt himself tighten up. He was inching closer and closer to his climax. He didn't want it to end so soon, though. He still wanted more. He stopped Amy for a minute, stood up, wrapping her legs around his waist, with her wrapping her arms around his neck as she kissed him. Then Sonic moved to the wall, where Amy's back was against it. He grabbed her ample derriere and started to buck her wildly again. She threw her head back and moaned loudly. Sonic kissed her neck as he was fucking her like a big bad pony. Amy's sex was really wet, so it made it easier for him to go faster. When she tightened up, his member reacted to it and was pulsating like crazy. The two hedgehogs was inching closer to their orgasm. The two were biting their lips, Amy moaning and Sonic grunting. They finally came, their fluids attacking each other's sex. Sonic collapsed to the bed with Amy along with him, the two breathing deeply. They were covered in sweat, and there wasn't a single chill in their body. Everything was filled with warmth. The only chill that they could feel was their waves of pleasure. The blue hedgehog didn't realize he was still inside Amy, so he pulled out. His shaft was completely wet from her orgasm. Amy cuddled close to Sonic as he breathed into his cotton candy scent. Sonic muttered, "Well, that was nice." He sighed, a cotton candy flavored sigh. "Yeah, I love you, Sonic. You're so amazing," he smiled. "Well, you're pretty amazing too. I love you too." Sonic smelled the sweet cotton candy from her mouth and everywhere else. Then he kissed her neck, rolling on top of her again, and Amy releasing a giggle. The rest of the Sonic crew came home and wondered where Sonic and Amy were. Knuckles and Rouge was going to open Amy's door, but then stopped when they heard moaning. "What?" But Rouge covered Knuckles' mouth before he could say a word. "Shh. Step away from the door. We don't want to know," she whispered as they slowly backed away from the door. God, and I only know. They were doing it once again.